Okay, so today I'm speaking to Clarice from an amazing Facebook group called Black Expats in Jamaica. Hey Clarice, how you doing?
Hey.
Yay, nice to connect through the wonders of the internet. So Clarice, tell me a bit more about yourself. Like, where are you originally from and what led you to Jamaica?
My name is Clarice. I am originally from the United States, from Mississippi. It's southern. For those who may not be familiar with Mississippi, it's like at the bottom of the U.S. region. Um, so that's where I grew up. But I've lived in different areas in the U.S. And I visited. I visited Jamaica a few years ago because I had classmates who were from Jamaica. So I kind of just came here for like, I think it was like 2 weeks. I stayed with her family, and it was just kind of one of those cultural immersion things, kind of sort of. So fast forwarding into a few months ago. so when I got the notion that I wanted to leave the country, and I think myself and others have always had like this thought, like we really don't want to be here, but we're so tied to it for various reasons. And once well, I want to say COVID inspired it mostly. And you know, I started generating my income online. And once I got the sense, like, hey, I don't have to be here to earn money. Let me, see where else I could go and exist in the world. So I chose Jamaica because it fit my requirements. I said, wherever I move to, it has to be a Black country. It has to at least predominantly Black country. Like, I don't have a grand reason, like, oh, I don't know, like that was it for me. Like, it has to be a Black country. And I didn't want to go too far from home just yet. I was like, the proximity is perfect. And then it's Jamaica, it's the culture, it's the people, um, it's the food, and like just like the natural way of living for the most part. So it kind of just was like, hey, this is it. Like, it's Jamaica. So that's why I decided on Jamaica. And I was somewhat familiar with it. So that's what led me here for the most part. But COVID kind of just it fast forwarded my process, and it kind of just made me go ahead and just make the move. And like I said, I thought about it. I want to live in other places, but I didn't put any plans into action to do so. And so this was the time that I was like, okay, this is the perfect timing. And I was like, I'm trying to, with everything else going on in the United States as well. I don't even have to get into all of that. With everything else going on over there, I was like, it's time to go, girl. Like, let's go. So that was my motivation in coming to Jamaica. So it was either here or um, an African country, some other African countries. Um, but it just fits, everything I look for and where I want to live. So.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And yeah, there's definitely something about this year with everything going on that's kind of giving people that push to be like, okay, now's the time, let's just make it happen. But I can imagine if it's an idea that you've had in your head for a long while and you hadn't acted on it, like what would you say were the pulls? What was it that was keeping you from moving earlier?
Well, we get caught in this cycle living in America. Like, you have to work to pay bills to sustain your living, your existence. And you just get caught in this cycle. It's like, I have to be here because I have to basically you've accumulated all of these things, houses, cars, whatever. And so now you're invested in it and you have to, just kind of stay there, pay your dues. And I guess it wasn't making sense to me. And for the most part, it's just a cycle. And then most people are, we're conditioned to, you have to go to school, you go to work, and then you enjoy your life, whatever few years you have left after you've devoted the majority of it to other people, things, companies, whatever. So, um, we're starting to think about it. I started to think about it, and I was like, it does not make sense. And I was like, just trying to find a logic, like, it doesn't make sense for me to do this. Most of us are not happy doing this. We're just doing it because that's what we feel we're supposed to be doing. And I think that's what kind of just prevented me. And it's like, it was also just the unknown. Like it was the fear. Like, how would I only know how to exist in America. How would I exist somewhere else? And I guess this is one of the benefits of growing up in somewhere like Mississippi, because people have their understandings of America. They think America is New York, Atlanta, Miami, whatever large city, whatever. They don't see or they haven't experienced the rest of America. So growing up in Mississippi, you're used to, you still have somewhat kind of like the living off the land portion of it, and um, just learning how to function and how to just exist within your space and within your confines. So that's one thing that I did appreciate about growing up there. So, like I said, it hasn't been that big of a transition for me, and that's what I appreciate. But that's, you still, you just get caught in the cycle. Like, this is what you do. Like, this is how you function. This is how you are successful. This is how we put so much value on, on these things. So I think that's why, I didn't foresee, or I didn't, it was just that fear of how do I do this? Should I do this? Like, why, would I leave? Like, what are my reasons? Like, it's just like all of these questions that you have, because like a lot of us barely make it out of our neighborhoods, or, exist outside of our neighborhoods. Like, what in the world are we gonna do in another country? So again, that it's just a mental thing. Like, basically, that's what it is. That's all it was for the most part.
Yeah. And so had anyone from your family ever like moved overseas? And when you said that was your intention, how did your friends and family react?
I've had family members who went overseas, but it was um, due to them being in the army or something like that, like, doing some type of agency work or something like that. I had an uncle who lived overseas for a while, and he was working for the army, the military or something. Usually it's something to that regard for work. Like, I don't have anybody who just, decided like, hey, I'm just live outside of the country. I'm the first one to do that.
Nice.
I'm out here charting paths. I didn't
Yeah, I
even
want to
think about
give
it
you a
like that.
round
But
of
anyway.
applause for that. Nice.
But initially, I had a few, people, relatives, and luckily my friends, for the most part, they're supportive. But of course, they have questions, like, um, like what, it's unbeknownst to them. Like, why would you leave here to go live somewhere else? Oh my gosh, I got so annoyed with the questions about the crime. Like, what about the crime in Jamaica? Yeah, I'm like, it frustrates me, because it's like we really operate within this false sense of security in America. It's like, I don't have any understanding how y'all are living here in this place and are convinced that it's much more dangerous elsewhere, or that, like, anyway, that's still like so baffling, boggling to me. And it's just I get like this. It's the programming and it's the conditioning. Like this is what's safe. This is what we do. This is how you survive. So there was a little pushback at first, but luckily, as you get older, what most of us do, we start to kind of, figuring out ourselves and knowing what we want, what we don't want. And so luckily, I wasn't in much fear in that regard. And it's just having the good sense to, or it's just like the the knowing that this place is not all it's cracked up to be, and not being I'm feeling like I know there's something better out there for me at least. And this is the thing, like a lot of us, we hop around, like in America, we'll hop around from state to state. Like a lot of Mississippians leave, they go to Atlanta, they go to wherever else, and it's like I did that. I hopped around to all these places. I lived in Atlanta, I lived in New York, upstate New York for a while, I lived in Ohio, and it's like everywhere I went, you still going through the same motions, like. And I was like, I was like, I've been tried this for a few decades now. I'm not liking how it's feeling. Like, I was like, it gotta be something, it has to be something else out there. Like, it has to be. Like, this is, I know it's not it for me. Like, I know this is not what my trajectory is supposed to be because I'm miserable doing it. Like, and I'm thinking, hey, I'll go to this place, it'll be different. And it's not. You're just doing the same thing, but you're just in a different place. Maybe it has more things to do, whatever, malls.
Yeah, more stuff to spend your money on.
Whatever. Yeah, and it's like none of this is like it's not worth it to me. So yeah, like I don't know if I.
No, that definitely, I can completely empathize with that. So what I'm curious about is, okay, so you kind of had the idea in your mind for a while, COVID and all the other mess pushed it to the front of your attention. But what was the process like from being like, okay, now's the time, to actually getting on the flight? Like how long did that process last, and like what did it consist of?
Ooh, I want to say it took me like a month, and
Wow.
I want to say I was frustrated even during that month because when I decide I'm ready to do things, I'm ready to do things. So I
Wow.
was like, I told my family, I want to say, when was this? I want to say probably like late middle June. I was like, I want to leave the country. So I told my family, I was like, let me go ahead and get them mentally prepared because I know it's coming. So I was like, I'm gonna give them that time because I was like debating on whether I should tell anybody. But I was like, that would be, it would be, not, what's the word I'm looking for? It would be inconvenient, for them for the most part. But I want to like once I decided I wanted to do it, um, the first thing I did, I started, researching, trying to get just like a general understanding of what I needed to be there, cost of living, um, and just kind of like just general gathering whatever information that I could, and I just started joining like some other expat groups. But like you said, I couldn't find anybody who's going to the Caribbean or to Jamaica specifically. Everybody's either going to Mexico or they're going to, Ghana, Nigeria, Africa, South Africa. I'm like, ain't nobody in Jamaica, ain't nobody in the Caribbean. Once I decided that's where I wanted to go. So I was like, I just started scouring the groups. I was like, I know it's somebody out in Jamaica. I said, I know it's somebody out here. So I found this lady. I found like one lady. She had been in Jamaica for over 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And so I reached out to her. And so we talked for a little bit. We shared the same thoughts and, regards to things. She was from California. So, I was just trying to ask her, like, can you direct me on how to go to find somewhere to stay? And then she was like, okay, well, you can stay with me for like, a month or so.
Wow.
Until you're able to, figure things out. And, we exchange our fees, prices, or whatever, how much you would charge me. And once, I secured a place, that was it. And I want to say, like, I don't recommend everybody do that. You know, you definitely have to have your discernment. You know, you have to feel like this is a safe situation. And I want to say it's like a mental thing. And this is something that I feel like we have to start with it. This is like have to start within ourselves, like just knowing what's best for us. We have to basically start giving ourselves permission to do things. Like a lot of us we're waiting on somebody's permission. You know, we're waiting on, somebody to give us the go ahead. But definitely have your discernment there. And, and that's also a reason why I created the group. But we'll get to that later. But it's everything just kind of happened as it should have happened. And like, I didn't have any like really like big things that set me back or anything too much. Everything happened as it should have, or as I wanted it, rather. And then it's also, I guess also I didn't come here with the intention that everything was gonna, be super perfect, super, cool. Everything was gonna go a-okay, smooth. And I think that's also a lot of the fear that we have with some of us who want to leave. It's like, it's just we have all these fears. If you adjust your expectations and until you're able to create your standard of living or whatever it is that you want, like for the beginning, at least, initially, just adjusting my expectations and being certain that this is what I wanted and just knowing what I wanted out of life. It's a process. And that, like, once I decided that that was what I was going to do, I said, I'm leaving regardless. Like, wherever it is, I just know I'm getting up out of here. So, and then that's kind of just how it went. I looked for, whatever information I could find. I did my general research. And it was also a lot of expats I realized that were in Jamaica. They're either retired or, most people who expat period, Black people anyway, like they're retired, like they lived their life, or, they just got it like that. So I was like, there's really something there in regards to wanting to leave, and you're not at retirement age, you don't have a large, bag of money. Like, what are our options? So it's definitely possible. It's doable. Again, it's just deciding that that's what you want and going for it. So.
Yeah, I just want to bow down for the fact that you did it in like 4 weeks. That's brilliant. There's me like planning, and you just did it. That's fantastic. So I want to ask you probably a whole lot of questions that you typically get asked. For example, what did you do with all your stuff?
So here's another. This is why it was easy for me to up and leave so quickly, because I didn't have a lot of stuff. Like I never bought a house or anything like that. I did have a car. And I just bought the car before Corona came.
Wow.
It was one of those situations. I'm driving like my lemon car, and I just kind of got fed up with it, and I was like, I'm just gonna go and get another one. But again, I wasn't thinking that far ahead that I was gonna leave the country. But once you decide that that's what you want to do, it doesn't matter. I was like, hey, y'all can come get this car. And I'm sorting out those details. Like so you will have the option. Most people will just sell their car, or they'll get one when they get to wherever they're going. I told the bank, come get it. We'll figure out whatever needs to happen afterwards. Like, I'm not, Corona left a good bit of us unemployed. I was like, I'm not even using it. I don't have nowhere to go in it. Like, just come take it. Like, I'm not doing anything with it. If you're concerned about, credit and things like that, I don't recommend that. But I personally, I was like, I'm not living here. I'm gonna go, so I don't care about my credit like that. Not to, be reckless, but those are just things to consider. I basically I just packed my essentials, my clothing and things. The rest of my stuff, like I didn't have like I didn't have like a big furnished house or anything. Like I just had like, because also like I was a hopper. Like I said, like I hopped like from place to place. Like I lived here and I lived there, so I kind of like learned to kind of scale back. So I have things, but they're just nothing that I'm really concerned about having here or stuff like that. So that's the regards to my stuff. Like I don't have children. I didn't have like any big, major responsibilities like that. So it was easy for me to just like, all right, see y'all later. I'm out of here. Bye.
I love it. I love it.
That's the privilege I operate in, but it's still doable. Like people do it all the time. So,
So
who have more.
how many suitcases did you travel with?
I traveled with 3 suitcases.
Okay, that's all right. I thought you were going to say one, and I'll be like, no.
I had 3 suitcases. Probably, I tried to be sneaky and like try to like, stuff things, whatever. But I want to say 3.5 because I was like, surely they'll let me on with these carry-ons that I'm, disguising. It's like really a suitcase, but I'm like, I'm gonna just see if they're gonna let me roll on with this carry-on. But I mean, I got all my stuff here. I just had to pay like for one bag or something. So I was like, whatever. Like, I'll take what I can get. But that's it. I just had 3 suitcases, my carry-ons, and I'm wrapped up in stuff, trying to, like all the airport hacks, like. But yeah, and
I love
I've
it.
been fine with everything.
And so what did you do for work beforehand, and what's your line of business that makes it easy for you to work from anywhere?
So my background is in media production and Pan-African studies.
Oh, wow.
So I got into the teaching trajectory or whatever. So I was teaching before I left, and I started teaching online like back in February, and I was just trying to do that to make extra money, and it kind of just worked out to where it's like I'm still doing it.
Nice.
So I was like, that's been my transitionary income, like just teaching English online. And a lot of people don't want to do that, but I'm like, listen, you don't have to make a career out of it. Like, if you can figure out a way to be anywhere and make some money, do that. You can figure out the rest later. I was like, I'm an entrepreneur initially. Like, I don't, outside of that, like I had a skincare business, and I sourced clothing and products and things like that. So I was doing that, as extra income, and I'm hoping like eventually when I get set up here with everything, I'll be able to do it here as well. But like, any opportunity that you can get to just make it like to where you can be anywhere, you don't have to, worry about income. And also, this is, I don't recommend that you move to a place, primarily if you're going to like, what people have quoted as less developed places to find a job. Like, try and get your income coming, because like then you don't want to come here and take somebody's opportunity. I didn't have the intention of doing that. I was like, I'm not moving. And it was like, for me, it's like, I'm not moving anywhere to keep doing the same thing that I was doing. Like, I'm not coming here to look for a job. If I come here, I want to do something that I can create my own, way, own opportunities, but I'm not looking to come here and, take whatever opportunity somebody here, would be better off having. So if you can secure, your income online, have your business online, whatever you can do that you don't have to be at a physical location, you can do that. And this is also another thing, a lot of us have acquired so many skills just out of basic survival of trying to live in America or Europe or whatever. We have a plethora of skill sets. So I'm like, figure out what you can do and how to translate it online. Like we have the capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like just translate them. Like see how you can translate them online or how you will be able to use those skills when you get here to create something for yourself. Because a lot of us can do, like I'm all over the place. Like I'm not, we can do whatever for the most part. It's like I don't, limit myself to one thing. And like a lot of us have had to do that, just out of purely being able to survive. So I was like, we have that factor that if we applied it, it would do wonders for us. Like I believe like if Black people were to just go and put these skill sets to use in other places, we would thrive as opposed to like waiting for whoever to pay us what we're to pay us, and usually it's not what we're worth.
Right.
So I was like, I don't want anybody benefiting from my labor and for my intellectual property outside of me. It's like if we can just get in that habit, I think it will do wonders for us. And not waiting for an opportunity. Like, how can we create our own opportunities so that we'll have the freedom to move about as we please, do what we please, not feel like we're stuck. So that's what I'm doing right now is I'm teaching online, and I'm good. I have experience with teaching online. I mean, with teaching. So I was like, okay, this is like something that I can hop into quickly. Like I can get in there easily. And then, again, whatever else I need to do, I'll figure it out along the way. But first thing to do is get money online. Like that was like, that's it. Because I was already trying to figure out, like, again, I was already preparing myself before COVID. I wanted to start teaching online because I wanted to basically get out of the energy of having to physically go elsewhere for money.
Mm-hmm.
So it's step one. Like step one is like, how can I, support myself without having to, or at least I'm able to have the freedom to work when I want to work. So it's like a transitionary thing, like, step by step. Like that was step one. And then I'm like, okay, step two, once I'm able to free up more of my time, I can start focusing my energy on things that actually I want to do for myself. So it's definitely worked out. And like I said, it doesn't have to be teaching. And, there's so many options out here, so many online things that you could be doing. Like just figure out your skill set and how it can work digitally or on the ground, wherever you go.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think that thing of like slowly unplugging yourself from the matrix, like it's totally the way to go. I remember I started teaching English online just as a kind of side hustle, thinking that that was something that I might want to do in the Caribbean last year. And it's so easy. It's like the easiest job I've ever had in my life. The idea that you can just like wear your little t-shirt and your pajamas on the bottom,
Yeah.
like it's just so
And I like it because I know like people who like are more invested in it, but it's like I'm not doing this for the long run. Like I like it because I literally just will wake up,
Mm-hmm.
I turn on my computer. I don't have to prepare any materials. I don't have to, have no parent teacher conference, none of that stuff. Like I just pop up, and then when it's time to go, it's time for me to go. That's it. It's like basically, I appreciate that for like I'm able to invest my energy into other things. Like I'm able to again like slowly unplug. Like and when I'm more, I'm able to get myself on a complete trajectory of not having to depend on them for income at the moment, then I'll be, it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's like we have to have the foresight. Like, okay,
Definitely.
this is what I see happening. This is what I'm going to do to sustain myself in the meantime. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Like
so easy. Yeah.
definitely. It's like that pathway to freedom, isn't it? So like what hours do you work in Jamaica?
So I have my availability open between 5 and 8 a.m.
Oh, nice.
So
Nice.
again, I'm not rolling in the dough, but it's keeping me comfortable,
Yeah.
in the meantime. So I was like, I only work for most of like 15 or 20 hours or so a week, maybe. And it's like, that's just like my availability. It's like, y'all get in here between 5 and 8. After that, like, leave me alone. Like, I got
I
other
love it.
things to
So at
do,
8, you're done. That's it. The day is
Yeah, that's
yours.
it.
Oh,
Right. And I was like, I can go and do whatever else I need to do. So yeah, and see, this is a thing, like, in America, I probably wouldn't be able to do that, and still pay my bills because you have to pay to breathe, or, you have to pay to breathe in these places. You have to pay for everything. I was like, at least, if you go somewhere else and you are cognizant of where you're going and the cost of living, I was like, most people are able to survive off of, just part-time work, in these other countries. And I was like, I was like, for me, that's my dream. Like, I have the option to do what I want to with my time and my day. So, like, again, like, that was my grand reason. Like, most people have, like, this great story. I was like, I just want my freedom, the freedom of my time, and I want to be in a Black country. I don't know, like, your audience, but I was like, I want to be out of whiteness. Like, I
no,
don't
no,
want to exist
definitely.
in it.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
this
want
is
to exist in it. So, yeah.
yeah. This is definitely aimed at people from the African diaspora, whether you happen to be in the
Yeah.
UK or US or France or wherever. But I just think it's really pressing. Like, it's funny. So I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. Someone in South Africa reached out to me and said, like, white people in South Africa really need to get out. And I was like, that's great, but that's not where my energy is. I think for the pressure that we're under, whether it's in the UK or the US, it's a lot. It's really unhealthy, and I just think in terms, like, ancestrally, like, for hundreds of years, we physically could not leave. Now we can. Like, obviously, some people have more privilege than others, but if you have the inclination to be somewhere else where that sense of liberation is just higher, like, do it. Whatever you can, do it. I would say.
Yeah. And, it's of course, it's, like, people's perception is like, you go to America, you go to Canada, you go to the UK, you don't come to Jamaica, you don't come to these places, you go there. And so it's like, even back at home and here, like, people like, why in the HE double hockey sticks are you, like, why on earth they can't fathom, like, this is like this. I mean, yes, like, coming from abroad, you will be operating from some sense, like, from some sort of privilege, but it's like, I literally hate that people feel like they have to leave Jamaica. I was like, look at this
Mm.
beautiful country. Look at what y'all have. Food is everywhere. It's everywhere. If I walk, like, I can walk right out my door and there's some food right there. I was like, because those are like the basic necessities
Mm.
that we have to basically work around the clock for. We have to work for food, shelter. I was like, y'all have, it's so much here. I was like, and it's gorgeous. Like, once you, like, get off into, like, the rural areas in the country, I was like, I can't. I understand why people leave, but I was like, I wish that
Mm.
y'all were able to do whatever you needed to do here, because I was like, I really, because everybody else is coming here. And so they don't see that. It's like, they're the other ethnic groups, they're coming here, they're, setting up shop. It's typical here, like, in America as well, where, Black people exist. Like, they know where to come to build
Mhm.
their wealth. They know where to come to build their wealth. They come into, primarily poverty stricken areas because they can sell things for cheap, or, it's not really much of a regard for what we're doing or consuming and things like that. So, I was like, they're coming here. Everybody is coming here. It's like, why do y'all have, feel like you need to leave? And it's that perception for the most part, even, like, it's just a perception that that's where you go because that's where life is good, that's where life is great. And I'm like, no, no, it's not. Like, it's not like existing there. Um, it's just, I'm really trying to, be able to help people understand, like, do whatever you need to do, but you're not gonna find like your golden goose egg, like
Right.
just because you went to America. It's like, and it's just this perception that people have that if you leave there, you out of your rabbit mind or whatever. So I was like, I just really wish that, it was more of like an appreciation for Jamaica and other Caribbean countries. And I mean, people are starting to see it, more so primarily in Africa, but I was like, in the Caribbean, I was like, it's just that you have that, this is another thing, you have that connection, whereas, Africans that, grew up on the continent of Africa, their level of perception, may not be the same as someone who are existing wherever they are due to the slave trade. So I was like, in Jamaica, in the Bahamas or whatever, you still have that relation, at least, and that level of understanding somewhat, as to this is why we're having to exist like this in the first place, as opposed to, anyway, whole another story. Yeah. But yes, Jamaica is a gorgeous country, and I'm like, if y'all see everybody coming here, like, take heed to that. Like, see, like, they're coming here for a reason. They're, you have tourists coming from all over the world for a reason. Like, Jamaica has a lot to offer. And, I just wish that more native Jamaicans, not to say that they don't, but for the ones who give me like the pushback, like, why would you leave? Like, it's just like hard trying to get them to understand that part of it. Like,
Yeah. And I guess that's the thing. There is a lot more opportunity in developed countries, but that opportunity comes with a cost as well, doesn't it? And I guess the cost part is what people
it's the
don't see.
cost part. That's what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. So tell me about your first month in Jamaica. What was it like? I imagine it's quite different from when you went there on holiday, but so tell me what was, yeah.
I was quarantined for like 2 weeks, so I didn't basically I did nothing. I went to the store, but hopefully they don't get me for that. But I went to the store, little things. I just, I was quarantined for the most part. And basically I got to explore like the island, like the off beaten paths, like, cause once, like, so my first month I was in Montego Bay, and I was staying with the lady that I met off one of the expat groups, and she'd been there for a while, so she has friends all over the place. So we would go be visiting. Like, the first month is like I kind of just got a terrain experience of Jamaica, and like I fell in love. I was like, I'm never leaving this place. Like, I was like, when I figure out how I could get me, like a little house or something up in these hills, I was like, it's over with. I was like, I would never leave this place. Like, it's just so naturally beautiful. And so basically that's what I was doing, just kind of basically just hopping rides wherever she would go. I was like, I just followed behind, like I'm just soaking it up, basically is what I did for the first month. So after the first month, I decided I was going to come to Kingston, because so Montego Bay and other areas, let's see, I guess like I was looking for more of like of the independence, because I wanted to move about freely. Like, I don't have a car. I visited Jamaica, but I don't know Jamaica, so I need to be somewhere where I have some movement. So I came to Kingston, and I've been here since I left her, like at the end of August. So
yeah, wow. And so tell me more about what led you after your time on the island to set up the Facebook group.
I could not find anywhere to stay. Like, when I first came to Kingston, so I was living in an Airbnb for like 2 months, and I was like, that was my only like hiccup, like, trying to find somewhere to stay. And I was like, I know there are some Black people here who have migrated, but they're like under the radar. Like they, because we blend in for the most part until we talk. So, like they're under the radar. And I was like, I know there are more of us here who want to come. But it's just like, if I had not had her like holding my hand, at least for the most part, like I probably would have like, there's no time. I probably would have just got scared, like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. This is too much. Like, and not, just solely out of Jamaica, but it's like Jamaica is a place where you have to kind of sort of know where you're going and know what you're doing, because it's not like, like, like even the road that I like, it's not easily navigatable, like just like via the internet. Like I can just type in something. It's like the address that I'm living on now, I don't even think it's registered on Google Maps or whatever. So it's like, I'm sorry, go back to the question because I went off on a
Yeah, no, I was talking about what led you to set up the Facebook group.
Yeah,
It's because you couldn't find something to say.
It was just wanting that sense of community, like we're here, and I wanted to do it like as like for those who legit want to escape America, and like that's what makes our expat experience unique, because we are doing it to flee. Basically, we're fleeing these places because we don't want to exist there, as opposed to, oh, I just want to live somewhere else, and I want to, it just have like we're trying to get out of like these oppressive systems, and not to say like, of course, I don't expect any country that was touched by colonialism or slavery like to be like this grand utopia for Black people, but I was like, at least here you still have like that sense of community, and you can exist as a Black person. Like you just want to be able to exist. Like, and it's like that's why I made the group, because it's to provide those who are here with a sense of community, to provide myself with a sense of community, because again, it's like sometimes it's that disconnect when you're engaging like with somebody who's native to these places. They can't process why you would leave. They don't understand it. And it's just like you still have those dynamics that we're working through. So you don't want to feel isolated. Because even though you're amongst other Black people, you can still be isolated because they, don't share your experience. It's like, y'all don't understand our experiences living in America as a Black person, or living in the UK, or living wherever. Y'all don't get that experience. So we want that sense of community, and it's just like the guidance. Like, we can do this. Like, I feel like Jamaica will be the ideal place for Black Americans who want to live in a Black country, but they don't want to go to Africa just yet. It's not feasible. I feel like Jamaica is like perfect, because you still have those similarities in culture. You still have like the sense of community. You have the proximity back to the States, if you need to get there. So I just like, it's like, why not Jamaica? So it's just making it so it's easier for the next person who want to come along, because I was like, I know there are others of us who want to leave. Like, we just don't have like, we don't know what to do. We don't know where to go. We don't know who to talk to. Because I decided that that's what I was going to do, I had to take the extra steps of like finding somebody. And, it just happened to be a luck thing, maybe. She offered me somewhere to stay. I was like, I know that won't be the case for other people. Like, how can we make this process like more smoother, or just like a better transition? And they have people who have been through the process. They know what to do. They know where to go. They can tell you. It's just like, let's just make this a possibility for others. So that's why I make the group, and it's like, it's just constantly building upon that. Like, I'm hoping to set up some type of way that we'll be able to have transitional housing for people who want to come here.
Wow, nice.
What are your opportunities, you know, that are here? It's like just getting people in the mind frame, like come wherever you go, just come with the idea that you're going to have to create your own opportunities.
Mm.
And, you know, we're just so like, we're waiting on somebody's permission to do something. It's like, you can do this. You have people here who have been through it, they survived it. They could tell you, you know, what their experience has been. So, yeah, that's why I made the group. And I was surprised that it wasn't, you know, done already. But like I said, I didn't see many people going to the Caribbean. I don't see many of them going to, they just see them as tourist places. Like you don't go there to live. Um, but I was like, I know we here. Like I know it. Like
Yeah. And the group seems to be going really fast. Like I only joined it this week just passed, but the list of people who joined that week, it was immense. Have you noticed that you're getting more and more people applying to join?
yeah. I'm like, okay. I was like, like, yeah, it's grown exponentially, like from last month, the other week. And yeah. So I was like, the curiosity is there. It's just they haven't seen it as like a viable option. But I was like, wherever you go, any other country you go to, you're gonna have to do the same thing.
Right.
Like if you go to Africa, you're gonna have to figure out how to sustain yourself. You're gonna figure out how to create your income. You're gonna have to basically do the same process. But I was like, at least in, you know, Jamaica, you know, you still have that sense of connection, and you still have that proximity. Like you still have, it's not too much of a culture shock for somebody who, you know, hasn't experienced anything outside of America or their neighborhood, so to speak. Like it's not that, you know, unless you're going like further out. If you never lived in or existed in a rural area, then it might be a little shock to you. But for the most part, it's like, you know, it's kind of like a mini America in some areas, which may be unfortunate for some, but at least until you still have your options. Like if you want to exist in the city area, you can. If you want to be off in the trees somewhere, you can do that too. Like you have your options, and you can just look out at the beautiful mountains and the nature. You have those opportunities. So, yeah.
Gosh, it sounds amazing. And so, what has it been like watching what's happening in the US right now from Jamaica? How have you been feeling?
I feel like people here are more invested in America than I am here.
Interesting. And you're like, I'm done. That's your problem.
Because you know, they'll be asking about the election. I'm like, listen, I don't know what's going on over there. I don't know.
Right.
I guess it's like I'm that. When you have divested, you have divested.
Right.
Like
Yeah, you cut those ties.
I don't
Nice.
know. I was like, I wish the rest of us. I was like, please get y'all asses up out of there. Like, you know, yeah, I know it's not possible, but please get out of here. Like, if you can, it's like get out. But I'm not. You know, I'm just not like like whatever's going on. Like you know, you're concerned.
Yeah.
And, you know, I want the best for my people still, but I'm like, y'all, like it's been a few centuries, you know, it's been a few centuries. Like, I'm not waiting 4 more centuries. Like, I don't want my grandkids or kids or
Right.
whatever to have to wait 4 more centuries to get like a little piece of humanity. Like, I'm not doing that. I was like, me and my ancestors, we tired. Like, we just want to live. Like, we just want to exist. So I was like, I'm not sticking around for it. I'm not waiting. They're not gonna dangle no more carrots in my face. Like I'm just gonna go. So yeah, so they're again like they'll be more invested, you know, they'll be asking me about the election or what's going on with coronavirus. I don't know. I don't know. Like honestly, I just really don't. Like outside of things that I come across
Yeah.
on social media, like I'm not like, oh, let me see what's going on in America.
Right.
Like I like to make sure my family is good. Like y'all okay? All
Uh-huh.
right. And
You keep it moving elsewhere. No, I love it. Very, very healthy. Oh, it's been so beautiful talking to you, and so much of what you said has echoed my experience and my feeling. And it's, I think what I just love is that there's a generation of people, when they see a gap, rather than waiting for it to be filled, they just fill it, and don't just fill it for themselves, but build that path for other people to do similarly. So I think what you're doing is fantastic. So just to finish up, for someone who's like, I want to do it too, maybe not in a month, but I want to leave and like move to Jamaica or another Caribbean island, what 3 tips would you give as like useful things to get your head around to kind of make that exit?
So my first thing I would say is start saving every penny that you can. Live on a shoestring budget. So when Corona came, I moved back in with my mama. I know that's not ideal for a lot of people,
No,
but you
it's not.
know, because I'm from Mississippi and I know that I typically am, you know, I don't last long in Mississippi because it's Mississippi. I was like, you know, I was saving, like, okay, I'm gonna be leaving here, so I need to be saving. I moved back in with my mama. Up until I left and moved to Jamaica, you know, I contributed, and you know, we had our arrangement, but I wasn't paying like an excessive amount of bills or anything like that. So save every single penny that you can. Some people, you know, have mass amounts of money that they save. You know, if the longer you prepare, the better. I was saving my money from working online. I had my savings prior to that. Just get out of the habit of just spending things unnecessarily. That's another part of the matrix. We just, you know, in that consumer culture, like we have to buy, like just live your basic necessities. That's it. Downsize if you can. If you're not going to, if you have a home, I would start the process of like getting like, I forgot what the name of the people are that like manage the property for you, property managers or something. Yeah. If you want to rent it out, you know, have that as income, you know, while you're living about, or, you know, if you want to sell it, like if you can use it as income, do so. If you want to sell it to have a large sum of money and just buy you a house somewhere else when you come for probably like a fraction of the price, I would do that. And then you could live off the rest of it until you figure things out. Figure out how to make money online, or what businesses you can create online, or, you know, check out, research the country that you want to go to, like, so Jamaica, for instance, and see what is lacking there, see what's needed. So do that research. Like Jamaica has a lot of things that could be done, like in the service industry. You know, like, so if you have a tech savvy, maybe come create like a Jamaican Uber or something. Like, you know, it's like they have the taxi system here, so it works, it's convenient. But you know, maybe like food service delivery, things like that. They're getting there, but you know, just think in that mind frame, like, you know, what can I come here and create that will be of service, and not necessarily you depending on. Don't depend on the country for income, like, you know, for a job at least. Let's see, just have an open mind. So things are slower paced here in some cases. Like you have to wait in lines. Yeah. Some of us may get, you know, frustrated with the line long wait. Like sometimes it can take a long time to do things. And basically, just think like how maybe like how things existed like 30, 40 years ago, where you didn't have technology at your fingertips to do everything for you with. Just think of that's how it's functioning. Like you have to wait in line to go to some places. Some things that you would think you could just go, you know, online, sign up. Nope, you got to go there. You got to wait, and you're just basically, you just come with a lot of patience. Right. Yeah. Come with some patience. And it's not like all bad, but just don't let it be a shocker to you that, oh, I gotta wait in line for something, or, you know, this isn't as easily accessible to me as it would have been back at home. Let's see. there are there's still some like cultural dynamics that exist here. So just be aware that if you exist as a Black person elsewhere, like some of the things, like of course they like transition into certain places, but just don't be like the tourist areas are the tourist areas. Like if you, like most people visit Jamaica, you know, they come here as a tourist. Um, don't just don't come with like those perceptions like everything is gonna be beaches and sand and you know sun and you know like just um, you know just how you would exist anywhere else. You know, you would take a bus, you take a taxi, wherever. They drive on the left side of the road, so be prepared for that. And the steering wheel is on the other side, so be prepared for that. I'm so scared to drive, but I'm gonna have to learn eventually. So it's little things that you just kind of have to adjust to over time. But it's nothing like really like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. It's crazy. Like it's not. It's not.
It's all doable with
Yeah.
the right mindset. It's all
Yeah.
doable. And I think your story's been really inspiring. I really hope people kind of start thinking, okay, how can I do this? And so if people want to, if people want to get in touch with you or to join the Facebook group, what's the best way to reach out?
So I'm on Facebook on Mocha Mazel. I'm on Facebook at Mocha Mazel. I'm on Instagram at Mocha Mazel. I'm on YouTube at Mocha Mazel. You can join Black Expats in Jamaica. You can just send a request. I'm also, my email address is contact@mochamazel.com if you would like to reach out to me that way. But if you're interested in coming to Jamaica, like I highly recommend that you join the group. It's like a wealth of information there, and it's like just came like it was like, oh my goodness, like we got everything. And it's like me and the lady that helped me transition here, me, her, and Tanaya, we operate and manage the group. So we're in the process of just trying to create resources like how-to guides and just basically streamlining the process of moving here. So I just want, like, for me, it's really, again, it's not just about a me thing. Like, I really want Black people who want to leave to be able to have the opportunity to do so. And it's not like an extreme move for them. Like, we can make this a smooth transition. Like, it's doable. It's absolutely doable. And like, I don't want people to feel like that they're stuck, you know, like you can get out, like if you want to and make it happen, like it's possible. And again, it's like, if you don't have $1,000 to fly to Ghana, like one way or somewhere, like you have your options. Like, don't ever feel like, you know, that you have to devote your life, the only one you got, doing things that you don't want to do. So please, you know, feel free to reach out. People have just been, I don't know, I wasn't expecting the response that I've been getting. And, you know, for me, like, I didn't have like this grand reason outside of, I was like, I'm tired of living here. Like, I'm finna go. Like, for me, that's how simple it was. But I guess like people need to see, you know, just like how simple it can be, you know, with the right mind frame about it. Like, it doesn't have to be extreme or like this over the top ordeal. Like, it's people do it all the time. Like, people leave all the time. You can do it. Just get out of your own head.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, definitely. Oh, well, thank you so much for sharing your time and wisdom with me. I look forward to watching the response of this guest. I'll put all of your links in the show notes as well.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been great talking to you, and I'm sure our paths will cross again because that thing of things happening in the Caribbean, there aren't so many people doing it, so it's always great to connect.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I greatly appreciate it. It's been lovely talking to you. So,
Yeah,
yeah, awesome, amazing. Thank you so much.
it's a pleasure.